Hello and welcome everyone. So in today's class what we're going to do is we're going to model this project here, which is the hovercraft. Okay, and the most important part of this project is how to mount the motor to the motor stand. Okay, so we have the base, which is made using the sheet metal function. We also have the motor stand using the sheet metal function. We've joined them together using some nuts and bolts, which we'll go through, and we have the motor mounted to the motor stand. So there's a nice bit in this, and we're going to start straight away and get going. So I'll stop this animation, and I'm going to go to the home menu, and I'm going to create a new document. I've already created the hovercraft, so I'm just going to call this hovercraft 1, and I'm going to click create. So I have it drawn here in front of me with the base and the measurements for it. So I'm going to use this just to take you through how to model the base. So the first thing is we click on the top plane and we click normal to, and I'm going to click sketch. Now I feel the easiest way of drawing this is because it's symmetrical, in other words it's the same on both sides. If I draw half it and then mirror it, it would be much quicker to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by drawing a line here. I'm going to click escape. I'm going to click dimension, D for dimension, or I could also, as always, click up here, and I'm going to click 220. I'm going to dimension this 220 and F to fit it to my keyboard. Again, I'm going to draw another line. I've clicked L there on the keyboard, and I'm going to click a horizontal line, another line down at an angle, and another line here. So I have a few steps done there together, and I'm going to dimension this line to 60. I'm going to dimension this point and this point also to 60. Just be careful you don't do it at an angle like this. It has to be straight up. So 60. And now I can see that this line has of course moved, but not to worry about that. I can press escape to get out of the dimension tool, and I can move it, but it's only moving up and down, but that's okay. What I can do is I can dimension it, so D for dimension, and click this and the other line. It's currently at 60, but I'm going to make it 140. Okay, now this is too big, so I'm just going to bring it down, and I'm going to again put in dimension, and this line I'm going to dimension to 60 also. One other thing I want to do is I'm going to dimension this line to this line here, and I'm going to make that 10 millimeters. Okay, so all of the drawing that I've done so far is in black, so that's good. It's all fully defined so far. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to draw another line. Now I want it to be in line with this one, so if I bring it up close to it, I can see the orange line tracking across, and that'll show it's on the same height as the other one which I want. And while I have that line drawn, I'm going to dimension that also to 140. Okay, what I'm going to do next, I'll fit it again to the page. I'm going to draw a line, clicking L for line, and I click another line, and I'm going to again just bring it over in line with these. Okay, there we go, and I'm going to draw another line back to there. Okay, now the good news is my sketch is gone grey, which means it's closed, so there's no gaps in the drawing here, which is good. Okay, now I have a few more steps to do. I'm going to click on my fillet tool, and I'm going to click fillet there. Now it's set up as radius 5. I'm going to change that to 10. Okay, that's fine. Again, on this side, I'm going to click this. That's 10, but now I want it 40. So I'm going to click OK. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to escape to get out of the fillet tool, and I'm going to click this line and click Q. And that's going to make it not a solid line, it's going to make it just a center line. Okay, so that's fine. So you can see now that the sketch is no longer grey because there is gaps in it here. So now I'm going to mirror this, and that's the easiest way of getting all the parts that I've done across. So because I had this line selected, it automatically knows that this is the line I want to mirror about, and it says select the entities to be mirrored. So what do I want to mirror? And if I draw or drag my mouse around everything I've drawn, it'll just mirror that. So that makes life very easy. Okay, so I'm happy with that, and it's gone grey again, which is great. I'm going to accept these changes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sheet metal model. Click extrude. Oops, that's not the one I'm looking for. So it's not extrude, it's thicken. Okay, so that's better. That's what I'm trying to do. So, and our thickness is going to be 3 mil, because we'll make this out of 3 mil acrylic. And I can accept those changes. Now, just to make this a little bit nicer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the planes. Okay. I'm going to hide the origin, which is this point here, the start point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to edit appearance. I'm going to give this a nice color, and I think I'm going to pick a bright orange for mine. Okay. Now, the last couple of steps, I'm going to click normal to, and I'm going to click sketch, and I'm going to put in a line. It's asking me on what plane do I want to select. I want to select the top plane. There we go. So I just clicked on the top of the surface of my material. I'm putting it in a line. So I'm sketching a line. And there we go. I must dimension this. I'm going to dimension this 30 mil from the front. Sorry, in fact, I'm going to dimension this 40 mil from the front. Okay, brilliant. And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK to accept that and exit out of the sketch. And I'm going to go to, let me see, the bend command. And if I click the bend command and I click the line I want to bend it on, brilliant. Now obviously we don't want to bend it to 90 degrees. We're going to bend it to 30 degrees. Brilliant. Okay. In fact, 30 degrees might be even too much. 25 is probably loads. Okay, and I'm happy with that, so I'm going to accept those changes. Okay, now there's actually one last thing I'm going to do, and that is, well, there's 2 holes to be put in the base, but I might put them in later. So that's the base fully done. Now, there is a few different ways that we can model the next part. So the next part is the motor stand, which is going to go on the base. So we have 2 options here. We can model the base as a separate part in a different tab, or we can model it here in context. There's advantages to both, but in this scenario I'm going to model it here. It's often very useful to model in context, which is, in other words, modeling it here as part of this, for a couple of reasons. One being you can see where it's going to go and how it will look like in situ. Now I still have to do an assembly at the end, but I can see as I model it how it looks. So I'm going to start it here, and I'm going to draw, let me see, I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay. Now I'm going to make this rectangle 70 millimeters, and I'm going to say that it is, let's just double check. Actually, with the measurement tool we can check how wide this is, and I think it's 120. If I click here, this point and this point, that didn't work for me. I'll try again. This point. Okay, we'll forget that. It's 120. So 120. Oh, whoops. That's not what I want. Let's undo that and try again. So dimension, this line, so this line, we want to make it 25. Okay, and let's dimension there to there and make it 15. So that looks about right. And finally, what we want to do is we want to dimension this line to this line, and we'll make that 30. Okay, so that's going to be the base. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept those changes, and I'm going to click my sheet metal tab, and I'm going to convert this to sheet metal. So again, I'm going to ticken it, I'm going to ticken that, and I'm just going to use 2 mil, probably aluminium here. So I'm going to ticken that to 2 mil. Okay, so now we have the bottom of that. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to use this flange command. Clicking that, clicking the bottom, and I'm going to make this 150. So distance is going to be 150. Okay. Now we can always make some changes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click normal to on this sketch. I'm going to click I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to draw a line down 30 millimeters. So let's dimension this. And of course, the good thing is if you make any mistakes, you can always go back and change them and the model will update. So I'm going to put in a circle here in the center. You can see the center point appears there. I'm going to put in a circle and I'm going to dimension it to 3.5. Okay. I'm also going to put in a bigger circle. I'm going to dimension this one to a diameter of 60. Okay. And finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a point from down here and I'm going to bring it up. I'm not touching the circle with it, but I'm going to use the tangent command, or T, click there and click the circle, and it will move to be tangential to the circle. Okay, and I will do the same on the other side. Click T, click the line and click the circle, and now it's a tangent. Okay, so we're just going to use the trim command, or M. I'm going to trim off some of these lines we don't need. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to click normal to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to remove some material. So I have to be careful here to click just the sections I want to remove, because, so let's just remove all these and start again from scratch. So I want to remove this, 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 and this, and the circle in the middle. Oops, didn't like that last one. Okay, and this, there we go. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. Now, this looks very high, looks too high to me. So, and again, this is the nice thing about using CAD, is we can change as we need. So, this flange command, we made this 150. So that is obviously too much. Let's drop it down to 120 and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's a little better. We'll go with that. Okay, and again, we can modify this if needs be, and the model will update. So that's it at the moment. Okay, now we need to put in 2 holes here. So let's do a sketch on this. Click line. We're going to this time click the center line. Normally we don't want to snap to these center points unless we definitely want it on the center, but in this case we do. So click there. I'm going to click Q on the keyboard to make it construction line. I'm going to put in 2 circles, and I'm going to click Q again to make that a solid one, and I am going to click another circle there. We're going to dimension these, let me see, maybe 15 mil from the end and 15 mil from the end. Okay, and we're going to dimension that 3.5 and this 3.5 also. Okay, and we are again going to extrude and remove the material, and okay, so we've removed the material. Okay, so that is the first 2 parts done. So what we're going to do, obviously we need the circle that we've drawn here to be taken out of the base piece so we can join them together. So that's important. Let's look at how we can do that. And this is a very important command. So what we're going to do is, for a second, let's click sketch, and on the top of our base piece. Now what we could do is we could select one of the circles, that circle, and click this command, which is a very important command. This command is the convert command, and the shortcut is U. So if we have a circle or some sort of a line that we wanted to put on another sketch, we can use this, and this is going to be very important as we move on. So now we've converted that, and what we can do is, now we have the circle from our top piece on our base, we can click extrude, we can remove that material and accept. Now we have the circle on both pieces. Excellent. Okay, so this video has gotten a little long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another video specifically about mounting the motors. That's such an important part, and part of every project pretty much that we will do from now on, that it really deserves its own video tutorial, and I'm going to show you that separately. So I hope this helped, and I'll see you next time. So I'm just coming back in to edit the hovercraft ever so slightly. So I've realized after looking at the original model that I didn't have the measurements just here to hand when I was creating the video, and as I look at it I realized that the other one, the original model, looked a little better. And again, that's the beauty of using CAD, that we can come in and make changes and update it, and we don't have to redo all our work. So this flange here should only be 100, and I'm going to click accept to that, and that's updating, and it still looks a little off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open here in a new tab, and I'm just going to go back and check the measurements of the original one I did. So let me double check. So this one was called Hovercraft 1, so the original one will be Hovercraft. Let's just go in here and see what the width of it is, because it does look a little better in this one. So let's let it load for a second, and here we have it. So let's just check the original sketch here. Let's just check it's the same width. So it's 30 mm, 25 from both sides. Okay, and 20 mm in. Let's see, does that align with what we have here? Edit. That's our bin line, so that's not it, it's further down. And it is, that's our sketch of the back. Yes, that's it, sketch 3 there. So that's 30. So I think this is the problem. Let's delete that and just dimension that. Is that right? 25 from each side? It is 25. Okay, no, so that's fine. So it's not that. Okay, so that is as it was. So then it must be our circle, our larger circle. So let's go in and take a look at this. So let's find it. It's the sketch, edit. And instead of making that diameter 60, let's make that diameter 30, and I think this is going to work out a lot better. And I'm going to just trim that there and there, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to press escape, and this line I'm going to click Q, so that's just a center line. Okay, now hopefully this will update, and yes, that looks much better. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click sketch fillet. I'm going to add a fillet to there and to there, and I want to make that a radius of 10 mm. Okay, now that looks much better. Okay, so I think the updated version there looks much better, and as always when using CAD, that's one of the huge advantages, is that we can go back in, make changes, update, and if we don't like it we can come back at a later date and update it again without losing any work. So I think I'm much happier with that now, and I think I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, so I'm going to come back and create a separate video of how to mount the motor.